This is a picture of somebody's room at the detox or the recovery program. So they have their own shower, that kind of thing. Especially as an opiate addict, and Vancouver has a long history of opiate use, and it's still what we see the most of. You know, the first symptom I'm going to have when I stop taking the opiates, I'm going to shit my pants uncontrollably. And to have to go down the hallway and, oh my God, there's someone in the washroom and that kind of thing. Here I can just go from my bed a short distance, or if I've got the chills, I can get into a hot shower. And we tell people, like, if you're feeling too lousy, just stay in your room for the first couple of days. I need you to come out of your room and go to programs. This is a detox. This is a recovery program. But I'll give you a couple of days to just build up your strength and use that dignity that that private room affords you as leverage to build up your courage to start dealing with the problems at hand and that kind of thing. Dan Small is one of the people who is a director of the Portland Hotel Society, and this sums up the attitude that I'm trying to always provide for people who either live with us or are in our programs, and that is basically that addiction is less a disease and more of a manifestation of people struggling to deal with things in their lives. And so none of us, there are no experts that I've ever heard of in the world who know what addiction is and can tell you how to cure it. But imagine I come home from work and I like to have a glass of red wine as I make dinner. If I've had a really bad week at work and there's a rumor going around work that people are going to get laid off, and I'm worried about my job, and it's been really busy, I might have more than a glass of wine. I might have half the bottle, 3/4 of the bottle. I'm using it to cope with my stress. Probably not consciously, I'm just desiring more wine. Users, addicts have the same thing. If we can reduce some of the stress in their lives, they tend to use, on average, less. If I can reduce the stress in someone's life through housing, through detox, through insight, that kind of thing, I've already started to succeed. People are using less. Their outcomes are getting slightly better. So the community transitional care team in that network of settings, when we opened Insite, we really emphasized relationship building to all the staff. So even a clinician, even a nurse, 80% of your job, 80% is getting to know the people who come in. What we would do is use those relationships. Now I know you very well. I'm really worried about the cellulitis infection in your hand. Your hand is this big. And you need me to help prepare your drugs, and you need me to tie you off and that kind of thing. And I'm going to use that opportunity to be beside you and tying you off, to talk to you and get to know you and to say, you need to go to the hospital. You're going to lose your fingers. You're going to lose your hand. If you go septic, you could die. You need to go to the hospital. But I know, and what we saw over time was I send someone to the hospital and then I see them again in 5 days. There is no way they finished their antibiotic therapy for an infection that serious in 5 days. They're leaving the hospital as soon as they start to get their energy back and they start to feel better. Over and over and over again, people don't stay and finish their treatment. So we said to the hospital, we need to be able to provide hospital services in the community, in a atmosphere where people will stay. It was very, very difficult. People said, you're crazy. What you're saying doesn't make sense. You want us to provide hospital services outside of the hospital. That's why we call them hospital services. They're in a hospital. We said, no, it doesn't work. Look at your own statistics. At very best, 1 of every 2 of your patients in this demographic is leaving before they finish their treatment. You're not succeeding. Plus, you're contributing to the drug resistance of those bacterial infections. And it's very, very expensive because they tend to cycle through the hospital over and over again through emergency with these terrible wounds. the CTCT was originally a beta project, a temporary project, until we could convince the hospitals, the health authority, that it was worth doing. Again, we've relied very much on that partnership model at Insite. So when Insite opened in 2003, it was run by the Portland Hotel Society and underwritten by the health authority, meaning the health authority provided all the money to run the project and provided us with clinical expertise, the nurses. So myself, as a Portland coordinator, I'm the nurse's supervisor, even though I'm a non-clinician and I don't work for the health authority. And we work together as a team, and those folks answer to myself and the coordination team. I'm trying to describe how there's a clinical aspect but not a clinical emphasis. I don't know if that's clear, but I'll keep trying. So it's in this building now permanently. It's no longer a beta project. Again, it's a residential-based project.
Por favor.
Oh, faster, okay. It's a very nice, it's not a typical looking hospital-like setting. The staff are great, very friendly. The Rainier Hotel is another project designed for women in the sex trade who want to try and transition out of that. On the second is a 2-story building, about 30 rooms per floor. On the second floor, there are clinical services embedded in that housing program, and also therapy, stress disorder therapy programs, withdrawal therapy programs, that kind of thing. Everybody has their own room, a little kitchenette, a washroom. Some of the other housing, PHS has moved from one building in 1993 to about 15 buildings now, and we house about 1,000+ people. This is a brand new project called the Woodwards, has 125 units of supported housing. The Beacon is a much older building, not nearly as nice to live in. So if I'm dealing with someone at Insite and they're very chaotic and very likely to be very destructive where they live, I might start them out at something like the Beacon. It's a good place to live, and it's supported, and there's staff PHS staff working there 24 hours a day. But it's not brand new and it's not purpose-built. And as you stabilize, I would then try to move you to some of the other projects. This is the actual Portland Hotel building. It's a concrete envelope. So if you were to start a fire in your room, say, the furniture and the cabinetry and the bed is all custom-made wood. If that were to burn up, then I would take it out, I would power wash down the room, and then I would rebuild it. So what I mean is this building is purposely built for this demographic, so that we can deal with any kind of large-scale problems that might have very quickly and effectively. So in conclusion, we're back to this network, and I'd just like to emphasize that what's really unique, I think, all of these projects probably exist in different cities in different ways. What I think is unique in Vancouver is that all of those projects are within one umbrella organization. Many of the people who work at the projects around Insite have also worked at Insite, and they're very familiar with the clientele and the residents and the participants that they're going to be involved with. That's both the clinical staff, because we have nurses working at Insite, and the non-clinical staff. And as someone coordinating across those projects, I have access to a detox, to an intravenous antibiotic therapy program, a program for women. We have a nonprofit bank, because banks don't want to see the folks we're dealing with. So the Portland, when we see these gaps in services that are in a normal, healthy community, we try to provide them. So we partner with another bank to run our own bank and that kind of thing. And in this network, I can refer people to these different programs, and it's fast and it's effective, and you start to rebuild a fractured and broken community. And that, I think, is the most effective tool I've ever seen in working with extreme addiction like we're all talking about here today. Thank you.
Muchas gracias.